like to call to order the Monday, February 10th, 2025 regular council meeting for the Borough of Bath. Please rise for the pledge of the flag, and Lila will lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, no announcements tonight. We'll jump into courtesy of the floor, but we're going to first do roll call. So, Brad?
Mayor Mirabito.
Present.
Council President Hesh.
Present.
Vice President Aragott's excused tonight. Council Pro Tem Mirabito.
Present.
Councilman Hamadike.
Present.
Councilman Lysegi.
Present.
Councilwoman Engst.
Present.
Councilwoman Bullsnake.
Present.
Junior Councilperson Goldfarb. Manager Flynn's present. Solicitor Armstrong.
Present.
Engineer Madison.
Present.
Zoning Officer Sean Lady's excused tonight.
Thank you, Brad. Jumping into courtesy of the floor, you know the rules. Please come up to our new podium, which was made by Public Works. It was very nice. Thanks to them. Asked in December, and it's already done. Look at that. Like usual, come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Savannah? No? Okay. I just feel like I should ask. All right. Next row, the two strapping young men sitting off to my left. Mr. Fields, anything?
No, just
Mr. Kowalski?
Just a fire report.
Okay.
Tony Kowalski, Bath Fire Department. January responded to 34 calls for fire and EMS assists. And that's all I have, unless you have something.
Any questions for the fire department? Or for Tony as himself? Hearing none? All right. Sure, thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Mr. West? Mr. Long? Okay. Mike in the back, anything? All right. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda. Approval of council meeting minutes from the January 13, 2025 regular session. A little bit longer this month because of my all right. Any questions, any motions, all that good stuff?
Motion.
Whoa.
Second.
We'll do that
To approve.
You said
Jim?
motions.
Jim, second to Manny. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. All right, jumping into council member committee reports. First up, PFA. A couple of things just to point out. As we start this new year, PFA, we had discussed starting the Borough Council Handbook. So Brad has already researched that, and PFA this month will deep dive into that. I know Councilman Lyseki's offering to help out as well, which you will be doing. And yeah, so hopefully by the end of the year, through the course of the year, have discussion and have that approved and into the record. Also, we just would like to make a resolution for Council President to report every year a State of the Borough address, either presentation or in writing. I know I didn't see it on the agenda this month, Brad. Am I missing it somewhere?
No, it'll go to PFA first and then council at the March meeting.
Okay, all right. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory in the minutes. Any questions from anybody? No? All right, moving on to NASCOG. Doug?
I was not able to attend, but I think you did.
I did.
It was the shuffling of the
I did.
players.
Yeah, hang on 1 second here. Time out. Let me find it on my phone. All right. So it was a reorg meeting. Jim Pennington was made chair. Again, Gary Krill from Allen or East Allen? I forget. Anyway, Gary Krill, vice chair. Lori Stauffer as director. This was an interesting fact. We voted on approving the fees of $250 per municipality. Brad is researching that to see if that had increased in price over the years, and also is that yearly or semi-annually. So I had brought up to them about reducing the price, and they kind of laughed at me, but I think it was a loving laugh. And but they did say a lot of basically just the money is to go into the account for if there's any the board appeals board, which our representative from Bath is Phil. And how many times have you been called? 0. Exactly. So anyway, so I know that's something council wanted to talk about as far as if we're going to continue to be a part of the NASCOG or do a different COG and things like that. So I know it's going to be a discussion this year. Tatamy had reported that dog control, trying to get pet control, get dog control back in the animal control officer back in Bath. So Pibbles and Paws, my understanding that they're building a new building, they're expanding, something like that. You reach out to them and also the Center for Animal Wellness, and pretty much no headway on that. The Center for Animal Health and Wellness will take drop-offs of pets, but they won't actively go out and break them up, right? So anyway, so that's still something that they're talking about. And Tatamy and I forget which other municipality had codified their zoning ordinances. So it was pretty much like one of those 4-minute long meetings, and it was mostly focused on reorganization.
It's a waste of time.
So anyway, questions for me or for Doug?
So what, I guess I am understanding that right now we don't have anybody that if a dog runs away or whatever, is that what we're concerned about?
Yeah, we used to have one. It was Pibbles and Paws, and then there was a legal issue, not with us, but with a company that the NASCOG was third-partying that out to, I guess you could say. So the contract had to kind of break off. But yeah, we were part of that for a number of years, and we were budgeting. We never really used it. I think we had one dog over those 3 or 4 years that we did it. I know our big concern in town was felines, was cats, and there was only one company doing that. Nazareth Borough had started to get active in that, but then that kind of faded away. It's a lot harder to find companies willing to do that. So I know some municipalities, again, are trying to see what other options are out there for the whole animal control issue.
So when you say they would take a dog that you drop off, what do you mean? Like, hey, I don't like my dog anymore, I'm going to drop it off there?
No.
The dog's just running around town. It has no license.
Okay, but they wouldn't actively go
Right.
and try to find it?
Because they basically said they wouldn't, they're not against any of that, but they don't want to overmax their facility. Again, this is my understanding of it. I'm not representing of them, but like they don't want to, they want to make sure they have the space to accommodate everything, and they're not looked at, I think, as like animal control. Will they go out and get it? Obviously, they'll take care of the animal if it arrives to them, but they don't have the resources to go out there and do that. So,
Got it. Okay, thank you.
yep. And Doug, does that kind of match up with what the conversations you guys have been having over there?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? At this point? Okay. Environmental advisory. Doug?
Right. We met on last Monday at 6. During that time, we mentioned, we talked about the sanitation. Invoices had gone out and confirmed that the payments had started to come in, so that was a good sign. We had also talked about the return of the Bath cleanup crew, which I will start working on, so hopefully that we could have our first cleanup in like March. We also were discussing continue to provide the responsible recycling and electronics event, and we're looking for a date for it to be hosted in 2025. We also discussed that this committee would like to help to become more involved with MS4 and help pitch in with providing information to the community. And we're looking to the Penn State Extension to help provide some guidance in what types of things we can do. Frank provided me some information on who to contact there. So hopefully within this month I'll reach out to them and get moving on that. Finally, we discussed that I was hoping to do some kind of Earth Day initiative, and we're discussing what types of options we could provide the community on that day. Our next meeting will be March 3rd at 6 o'clock.
Okay, questions for Doug? No? All right, public safety. Lauren is going to be, Michelle asked to step down from chairing that, so Lauren's going to step up and be our new public safety chair. So I'll turn the floor over to her for her report.
We talked a little bit about the issue of fire trucks coming in and out of the road here on Center Street onto Walnut. It was a concern of mine for a while as to people just taking up the whole intersection there. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to make that better. One of those suggestions was to block it off with red so that people aren't in that area, so when the fire trucks have to leave, they can. And it's a little bit less expensive than a few other items, or I should say options. They talked about the control panel on Borough and 512, how that was just driven right over the top of by a tractor trailer. Damages cost over $60,000 to fix that thing. Brad, did we get any info from the garage, Mike's garage, as to like footage or anything of that?
No, we didn't receive any information on that, no.
Okay. I know that you put it out there on Facebook to see if anybody had any information on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's basically what we talked about in that one, and I'll give it my best shot. If anybody has any safety concerns, whether you're a person that lives in the borough, anybody on the council, please, share any information you have. I'm willing to listen to anything.
So we're hoping to piggyback off of Lauren's experience at her previous employment of Crayola, where she was involved very much so in the public safety at that company. So, any questions for Lauren for the committee? Nothing. All right, I skipped over economic development in my excitement to get to public safety. Just three things I want to point out to council and ask for their approval or denial of. First, as we did last year in the committee, we put together a sponsor letter asking, what companies or what individuals would be interested in sponsoring bands or anything like that at Old Home Week. The committee wanted to know council's comfort level. We'd like to send that out again this year. The goal was to mail it to the boroughs within the business and those that have donated outside of borough limits. What did I say? Businesses within the borough. What did I say? Boroughs within the
Boroughs within the business.
If someone have those in. And those committees, those businesses that are right outside of the borough. But what's council's thoughts on sharing contact information of businesses with the committee to then mail out things? And we get contact information from the businesses when they do business license renewal, but I wanted council to decide if that's okay or not to use that information.
Well, when businesses fill out their forms, there's an indication where they can, there's a place on the form that they can indicate if they want to be contacted or not.
Okay?
I would say 60% do not want to be contacted.
Okay.
So you have to tread lightly there.
All right. Yeah, so we wanted to bring it up to all of you. So, Brad, anything you want to weigh in on that?
I was just going to mention, besides contacting the various businesses and merchants regarding that,
possibly use the Bath Borough website and also Facebook to do that. So, you know, to Fee's point, maybe some do not want to be contacted, but maybe they'll read something
Right.
and then contact us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know a lot of it's been the past few years of like word of mouth, you know,
Yeah,
and
that's
that's
always
why.
good, yeah.
So,
And you're right, if one sees, maybe the other one will say, oh, well, maybe I want to do that now too.
Yeah.
so any other thoughts? No. Is council all right then? Like approaching those like 40% of the business that are okay, getting information and posting stuff on Facebook and the website? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, which the committee did budget for, last year was talked about and discussed. But the committee would like to proceed forward with an item. The committee's looking to create a professional video trailer, basically advertising Bath Borough, as other municipalities have. We're looking at capping it, 2,000, 3,000, somewhere around there for like, well, it's going to be decided upon whatever company does it and how much they'll give us for that much money. I don't want to go too far, but just some experience in the past in my personal life and getting commercials made and things like that for business and the cost and how many seconds and things they give you. So just to explain the process, we're looking for, if council's okay with it, looking to reach out to those video production businesses that do it, and then they can film this whole year. They can film events, they can film meetings, whatever they want to do to gather the portions of the video together and at the end of the year create it and present it to us, and then we can use this as marketing material going forward. One of the things I had mentioned to the committee and to Brad was, we have some projects going on now. We obviously the stage project this summer, so things like that. You got obviously Spuds and Spurs. We got a lot of stuff going on in the parks and environmental cleanups and all that kind of stuff. That be kind of nice because it's meant to be advertising everything within and that the borough does. So it's not focused just on events or what have you. So again, we would cap it. It's kind of a moving target. If council gives us the dollar amount, that's fine. I can tell them we have to stay in that. But if council kind of knows that range, 2,000 to 3,000, we should still be in our budget then for all the other things we want to do in the committee this year. So, thoughts? Ron?
You may want to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce. They do that all the time, and they'll probably have people to recommend that have done it for other municipalities.
Right. Yep. No thoughts or questions or anything? Council's okay with it? So obviously if this is a go and everything, I'm sure council will weigh in. Maybe there'll even be interviews or blurbs or all that kind of stuff from all of you, so as far as the committees go. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So no objections on some. They can keep moving forward on that. Real quick, Monocacy Creek, nothing new. The Japanese knotweed thing will get scheduled. Obviously Parks is aware of it, Environmental is aware of it, and I've been repeating it. So hopefully sometime next month in March or April, we can do that. All right, I rambled enough. Jim, you want to talk about Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec met last Monday, and the meeting minutes are in your packet. A couple things to mention. As Frankie mentioned before, we discussed the band shell, we discussed the timeline on the layout and the volunteers, and we feel we're in a good position right now regarding the timeline. I believe the information was sent off to municipal regarding the commercial code, and we got some information back from them, and Brad had told us that we should have the final layout probably by the end of this month, early next month, which once again is on time. And then we're really looking to ramp up in the springtime with the actual construction of the van shell. Also, I mentioned to Brad about contacting Brian Cope regarding the trailhead, probably sometime in early April, just to get an update and possibly have him come to one of our borough, one of the council meetings to give the council and residents an update. And then finally, Spuds and Spurs, Tanya and I were the Chambers January 22nd conference call. We confirmed the date of Saturday, June 21st from 1 o'clock to 6 p.m. It'll be on Chestnut Street and Northampton Street along with the parking lots. That was the first meeting. We did ask for a 10 by 10 tent because the 250 committee is going to do a fundraising for the missing bricks, right, Brad?
Yes.
Or missing brick, the commemorative bricks, and we did ask for a 10 by 10 tent, and they did grant us that, and that will be on Chestnut Street. So we'll have to. So Brad, I'll mention that at the 250th committee, and then we'll find out who wants to staff that tent, for that afternoon. Next meeting is on Monday, March the 3rd. Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Yes.
You did such a good job with the Public Works Day. Remember that a few years
did.
ago?
Yes.
Are you planning on doing anything this year? I think.
Yes. I
And
will.
here's why, because we just hired someone new, and I believe we have another one in the pipeline. So it would be nice for people to know who they are.
I think it'd be nice, and I believe it's like the third. I want to say like the third Thursday or third Friday of July. But I'll research that, and I'll get some information to have it for the next council meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a nice.
It was a nice event.
All right, as Jim said, any questions for Parks? Parks will be getting more popular as the year goes on. That's for sure with all the stuff we're working on. Bath Museum. All right, I want to do the ceremonial handoff to Brad. Brad, this is a list and council of the board members for 2025 and the officers, along with the attached declaration page for their insurance and also a copy of their updated bylaws. So if we can ceremonially hand that to Brad to put into the main file.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure handing that down. All right, so also they wanted council to weigh in on, I discussed this with Brad a little bit. I don't know if you reviewed it in the packet. The museum would like to put a decal on the glass outside door, off to the side, that shows their hours, the logo, that kind of stuff. 10 by whatever, 8. Size would be 8 by 16. MS Tech would do the installation. The museum would pay for it and the installation. They just wanted to know if the borough would pay for that. Now, just some background on that. Originally, they were looking at like a hard-mounted sign on the stone veneer off to the side where the parking spot is. But through discussion on that, they leaned towards the decal on the door. It's just, I guess, some people know the hours and if they want to get in touch with the museum and things like that. So, I mean, I'm all right with it, but it's up if council votes no, that's so be it. I just wanted to get input from everybody. Or none. No. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we'll let them know, either myself or Tanya, or do we have to do anything past regards to that?
Motion would be appropriate.
Motion, okay. All right, I guess we'll draft the motion that an 8 by 16 inch logo of the museum, gold vinyl image with the museum logo and hours of operation, to be installed by MS Tech, and installation and decal paid for by the museum.
The one,
Are we going to have a cost not to exceed a certain amount on that?
They're paying for all of it, it's $125.
Oh, I thought you said,
decal.
I thought
Yeah.
you said the borough is.
Nope, just the museum's gonna pay. They just were looking at our blessing and approval to put it on the glass.
so
I misunderstood.
That's okay.
so I'm sure you're aware, a year or two ago, the Sunshine Act was amended.
Okay,
It's not currently on your agenda.
okay,
I think something like this, you can
Sure.
probably start with a motion to amend the agenda if you want it on tonight. If it doesn't matter, if it can wait, you can put it on the agenda for the next meeting, but I'll let it up to council as to how you want to proceed.
yeah, I mean, I don't think they're in a rush. 1 month isn't gonna matter, but we can amend if he's one.
Maybe just put it on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
And maybe get a clear picture of what it is they're going to be putting up and where.
Yeah. Yes, we can see it.
And then she did send a picture of the logo.
Yeah, there's a picture here.
Yeah.
Maybe you can put it in the packet and
Yeah,
can see it.
Black and white.
Yeah, it was in the packet, but I get the actual proof, I guess, from them. All right. So I'll tell them council's okay with it, they just want to see the actual picture, the
Yeah.
actual decal. And then we'll put it on the March agenda, vote for it.
Yeah, but also, yeah, I see that, Manny, but how are they planning on putting that on the,
I can get clarification. We have a museum meeting on this Saturday's museum. So I'll tell them, I'll stop in and, get clarification, bring it to March, put it on the March agenda, and then we'll knock it out.
perfect. Yeah,
For the
see, we
Borough
do,
Hall,
right.
Yeah,
That's for
I know.
Borough Hall.
yeah. They want to put one off to the side for the museum,
I
smaller.
don't know where it's, maybe underneath.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll
Where
have
it's
that
gonna fit
discussion.
in there.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll talk to them Saturday. Okay. I'm just the eye candy, right, Bobby, of the museum? I'm just the eye candy of the museum. I just liaison. I don't make decisions. Are there any questions for the museum? Okay. Bobby's here. Now's the time to ask him. All right.
I would like to ask something.
Okay.
Last year, a few times, I asked if the museum reached out to George Wolf School. I've been approached now 3 times about the kids coming up here to see the museum. Someone from the museum committee was supposed to call George Wolf Elementary and speak to, I gave the teacher's name, I don't even have it anymore. But I guess they want to bring some classes up here to see the museum. So can someone please reach out to George Wolf and get this done? Because I feel embarrassed every time. They're like, Mayor, we want to come, but nobody calls us.
Okay.
I've left messages for people too. No, I know.
So,
But, so if somebody
Yeah.
could do that, Mr. Liaison, perhaps?
yeah. Bobby, are you going to be there Saturday? Are you coming Saturday? Okay.
Somebody brings me down. I can't drive it.
All right. Okay. All right, so we'll take care of that Saturday. Anything else? No? Okay. All right. Lastly, American 250 Committee. So thank you to those on council that have been coming to the meetings. Making some good progress now. As council knows, the committee is focused on the main trailhead at Kifcalling, on the corner of Horner and Mill. See?
Mill, yep.
I always get the wrong streets.
Wonder Mill.
Yep. So Ashley, who's from the Republican authorities, Republican the group. Look, man, I'm tongue-tied today. All right, just bear with me. Wait till you're exactly. Wait till you're my age. Anyway, I know. Well, I got that confused. Anyway. So we're doing the fundraising thing. I can't find my brick, but we've all seen the red bricks with the names carved into them. So the committee is asking for council's approval to continue forward with this brick sale fundraiser. If you read over the notes, kind of how it's explained, but I'll do it now for the public record. The company that we would be working through charges $20 per brick, which includes engraving and shipping. Okay? So the committee would like to sell these bricks. Anybody and everybody can purchase them. It's a way for just any resident or former resident can be part of our 250 project. One brick would be for $40. 2 bricks would be for $75. Okay? Brad, if you can model the brick there. Right. So,
Is it just one size?
yes.
One size.
Yeah, like that, the normal size. We might get a different color that more matches the red bricks down by the clock, but in essence, that's what it's going to be.
Do you want to pass the brick
This
around up
is,
here?
no, this is going to go the trailhead on the corner, right in Kifcalling, yeah. So, again, this would be a way for anybody to participate, relatively inexpensive. Any purchase would be non-refundable. The committee's goal is to have an installation date on or before July 4th, 2026. The additional money raised towards the purchasing of the bricks would go towards installation of any additional need of, any additional money needed, whatever we make profit-wise, whatever you want to say, would go towards the installation of it. If council is okay with that tonight, then at the February 18th committee meeting, they will draft the details as far as what's allowed to be put on the brick, and all those kinds of things, so it's obviously tasteful and it's nothing bad. But this company, bricksareus.com, seem to offer the best price, and they have a lot of the fundraising stuff already done, so it's just working with us to do this. Now, side note, so everybody knows, we already have a bank account established for the America 250. It's separate. So, you know what I mean. So, anyway, so council's thoughts, if they're okay with the committee going forward with this, and also the prices for those bricks.
How many bricks do they anticipate selling?
There's no known amount that we're going to sell.
But I just, well, due to the size of it, how many do we think that we could sell to fill this area that we've come up with?
Yeah, we don't know, and a lot of that's going to dictate the size of it. So, like, let's say we sell 300 bricks.
Right.
Then maybe the trailhead area is going to be a little bit bigger than we originally thought. If we sell 20 bricks, it's still going to be whatever size engineering decides for that trailhead. It's just most of the bricks will be plain; they won't be engraved.
So we have an amount to fill
Right.
the area, regardless if we sell it.
Correct, and it's a good question because this did come up at the meeting, and those that were present, feel free to chime in. We said that, yeah, that's going to dictate a lot. Like, all right, we're selling more, we're selling less. Then Brad can work with Ron in engineering of, all right, what do we want it to look like, what size, what shape, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a bit of a moving target, but
Well, yes,
yeah.
I understand.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah, no
that we have
problem.
an alternate.
Yeah, the number of bricks sold will then dictate what the pattern's gonna look like and the area that'll cover.
So, thoughts from council? Are we all right with it, or questions, or?
Sounds good to me.
It's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Well, we got our first buyer and Mr. West there. All right.
Did you want one or two?
Yeah.
Cheaper by the two.
Okay. So anyway, okay. Any questions from anybody? And just a reminder, anybody here at council, I know a number of council members have come to the meetings. Feel free to attend 6:30, the third Tuesday of every month. Good group of people together there, and I think it'll be a nice project and really add even more depth to our parks. And again, plays right into the master park plan. So, questions? No? All right. We already did public safety. Oh, the reports, yeah, but first we gotta go to the mayor. Mayor?
I really don't have much to report. State Police is doing their thing here in Bath, contrary to popular belief. That said, Lieutenant Emery, who was the station commander at Troop M, has retired, and Lieutenant Kelly has come back. He is in charge of Troop M. If you remember, Lieutenant Kelly is the trooper that was shot on Route 33. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. He's back and he's in charge. And we have good communication back and forth. The troopers stop in here very often. I don't have anything. If council has anything that you need me to go back to them with, I will do that. I plan on scheduling my coffee with a cop and my other events with them, and they're very open to, doing as much as they can here. They keep reminding me that we are your police, Mayor. I said, thank you. Can you come and put that on a billboard somewhere? But anyway.
Fee, I know that you've invited them before to our council meetings. Is that invitation still open to them based on their resources and?
They're here
Okay.
around meeting time. So they won't attend a meeting. If I need them to attend a meeting,
Okay.
they will,
All right.
but they can't come to every
Every meeting,
meeting.
okay.
but they are in the area when we have our meetings. So, does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions for the mayor? No? All right, public safety reports, EMC. Bradford?
Nothing from Lou?
Lou's gonna, I'm sure, report to public safety like before, right? We need him in public.
Yes, yep.
Committee meetings. Zoning officer, code enforcement, permits, there's activity going on, but anything that special to bring?
Nothing to highlight, nope.
And just raise your arm if you got any hand, if you got any questions on any parking enforcement. Nothing. Okay. Yes.
Can I say something while we're on the subject of parking and zoning and so forth? So, Lauren mentioned in her report that the cost of replacing that, whatever it is that was knocked over, that PennDOT put up, was what, 60, 51,000 or whatever. So, I don't know about any of you, but how in the world are we going to replace these things at a cost of 50,000 every time this happens? Now, I don't know, again, about any of you, but I'm ready to go to the congressman, and I will start complaining to PennDOT, even though we're very grateful for the lights that they did. We cannot take on that kind of expense. We don't have it. So I don't know if we can send a letter. I don't know what you want to do, but I'm ready to go to the Congressman Miller, and ask them for some help with PennDOT, because we can't do it. We can't keep up with that kind of. This one down here is going to get hit every other week, you know. So I don't know. So were we told that we are responsible for this when they get knocked over?
Yeah, and that was the whole thing when we said, well, then they won't let us put bollards to protect them. So we said, especially those stalks or whatever you hit for the crossing, you know.
Yeah.
They said they're going to be 50 grand a pop. I was just guessing, but those boxes are 50 grand a pop.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to keep happening. I don't see anything. And Brad even asked now lately if we can put up bollards, and they said nope. So
Well,
I don't.
Well, I'd like to know how.
I think they should
who's
just
going to pay for
magically
this.
appear in the middle of the night. So that's my opinion on it, because that's twice that the one over here at Main and 512 has been hit. And it's a matter of time till somebody's standing on that corner and gets hit. At least the ballard would keep them from getting hit, if nothing else.
But that's private property, so you have to
It's
ask.
on the sidewalk.
Again, it belongs to the whatever. over
I'm
there.
sure that they wouldn't mind.
Well, and then there's
And
liability,
their curbing
right?
won't get hit either. Well, the rest of them in town magically appeared at some point or another.
Well, they were just put there without permits, but go ahead.
I thought sidewalks actually were not public property. I mean, they were public property, but they, the residents have to take care of it.
Yeah.
So,
But I think we have to go further back.
oh,
So engineering and legal, I'm sure this has come up in other situations
I'm sure.
with your experiences.
I'm sure.
What were some remedies, if any? Gonna guess none.
Regarding the bollards within the right of way, is
So we got-
that the
Yeah, so we got the new light, everything installed, and it's turned over to us, understood, it's ours to maintain. But there's no protections against it and nothing we're allowed to do. So it's just gonna be a constant 50 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand.
Yeah.
has someone communicated with PennDOT as to the need, or are there options aside from bollards? Are there other options as to? I don't know, but I think the first step would be talking with PennDOT, whoever your contact at PennDOT was when they were installed. Clearly, there's going to be a concern and an issue if these are going to continually get hit. And I would suspect PennDOT may have some idea as to how to properly protect them.
I suggest that Brad and I, we can set up a meeting with Chris Sarovi at PennDOT. He's in charge of the signal bureau, and try to come up with some options. We're not going to solve it here tonight.
No, I know. But I just wanted to bring it up because that's just as absurd as right to know requests.
And it's a difficult situation, and we'll discuss it with
Thank you,
PennDOT.
Ron. Thank you.
I would like to be able to attend that also if I could.
Yeah, safety committee.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you, sorry. I'm just a little concerned about that.
Ron, since we were looking at you, anything you want to add?
We submitted our quarterly engineers report and we went over it briefly in January. There's one item that has fallen to the wayside, just that we need to push it to the finish line. It's the official map, official zoning map. We had provided correspondence to the borough back in fall of '23. Pat's office has provided an updated memorandum in November of '24. I think it's appropriate for the Borough Council to direct us to work with Brad, the solicitor and the engineer, to have an ordinance drafted that can be forwarded to the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, the Bath Borough Planning Commission, and adjoining municipalities to move that forward. It's at some point through planning or zoning, it's going to be an issue that we don't have. We're kind of in between adopting documents.
Plus, we've been asked several times for the official map, so it's time to move along.
Is consensus just good enough to draft the ordinance?
Yeah. Well, I think probably the first step is, have you seen the draft official map? It's been a while since I looked at that, but my recollection is before we take that step to forward it on to the county in preparation of the ordinance, I think we should make sure council has seen the map and is okay with the draft that we're going to be moving forward with and advertising and forwarding it on to the county. And I don't know where it has been, if it's ever been before council to review and authorize us to kind of take that next step to send it out.
I think it was in council packets back in '23. We can certainly put it back in council's packets to have it on the agenda for the March meeting.
Yeah, refresher, I think, we throw that in the March packet and then get some movement on that.
It was a combination of...
I mean, putting it in packet would also be good maybe to put it on easel for the March meeting, have an easel here and show it, or, I mean, is it, sometimes on the small iPads, it's hard to see. It's hard to see it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we can bring boards. It's actually 3 separate maps. It's the official map. It was the zoning map that needed some tweaks to be consistent with zoning amendments that had already happened. And then also, it was a combination of parking, historic, and Keystone Opportunity Zone overlay districts as a third map, all combined. Because when we tried to put it all on one, it wasn't readable.
Yeah, all right. I think
But we're on the agenda for the March meeting.
Okay. Anything else, Ron?
No, that's it. Unless you have questions.
Many, but not for tonight. Phil, question? I was excited. Public Works, in your packet, obviously we hired, well, go ahead, Brad, you can.
Yeah, no, we hired a 4th full-timer, Jay Fennon. He'll begin February the 24th, and the Public Works crew currently, we're in our winter maintenance operations. They did some other projects as well, like the podium you see there. They did a really good job of that. And keep marching through. We're about a little more than halfway through the winter, so steady as she goes.
So we're up to 4 Public Works guys now, persons. It's been a little while since we were at that. It feels like that would be a good capacity to get back to that. So what's going to be interesting now as the months and years play out is how MS4 authority plays into that, and the sharing of time. Obviously, the authority is going to be paying the borough back for any time that Public Works or management or administration has to help them. So it's kind of a moving target, so to speak, like so many things, but it feels like having 4 now will be more efficient. So we budgeted for 4, so that's where we're at. Any questions about Public Works?
I just want to say they're doing a good job with the ice and the snow and whatever other weather system we get. I had one complaint this whole time.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have
I don't listen to you.
I'm sorry.
All right, Water Authority, Mr. Lysak.
Yep, the information is in your packet. The meeting was held last month, and it was a reorganization meeting. There were no changes to the board, no changes to the solicitor or the engineer. Did field one question from the Water Authority about the Stormwater Authority, and answered the question that, why is the Water Authority being, why did they get a letter regarding the Stormwater Authority, and explain to them, in very simple matter, that all entities, within the borough are going to be subject to MS4 fees, including the borough. And when I mentioned the borough, that kind of calmed things down. They said, "You mean the authority is going to send a bill to the borough?" And I said, "Yes." So we kind of diffused that question as it came up.
Right.
But I'm sorry, the last thing they did say is, there is a lot of good coordination between the Water Authority, Public Works, and so
Oh,
forth.
yes.
We do a lot for each other. I mean, they drain our fire hydrants, and we do, stuff for them. When this trailhead comes through, it's going to, empty into the parking lot there. So there is a lot of good coordination, a lot of good spirit going forth. And when the question came up, immediately I reached out to Brad and Frank and so forth. And I just wanted to make sure that we, the question came up, we answered it. Just wanted to make sure that going forward, this wouldn't be something that would conflict with all the good things that are going on between the two entities.
We've always had a good working, as long as I've been,
Yeah.
we help each other.
Jim, question. I heard a rumor, but I don't know if the rumor is true, and I'm trying to piece it together. Is the Water Authority expanding operations of a new development outside of borough limits?
Lauren Nazareth.
The watershed brought up something that
I have not heard that, but I can bring it up at the
Nazareth,
meeting.
I think it's 130 or 160 units off of
Lower
Silvercrest.
Nazareth,
Yeah.
off of Silvercrest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just curious if you heard anything.
I don't know where they are in their development.
No, I mean,
process, but-
that was not brought up. I mean, they do,
It was more
they do
recent.
extend their service out to Jacksonville
Yeah.
and in some other areas, but no.
Okay.
So
I was just
if you just forward me an email
Yeah.
on that, just
Yeah.
forward me an email just to say what you heard, and I'll bring it up at the meeting on the 19th.
Because I don't know where they are with that whole. So the Water Authority, they can serve them. So that's as far as that went.
Yeah,
but I don't know where they are.
But it doesn't
in the whole
necessarily mean
development.
they can serve them.
No.
It doesn't mean.
Well, no, they can service that development, but I don't know where that even is in the whole midst of
Discussion.
on the approval process.
Right.
Okay.
It's
That's
an
what I'm
initial
curious.
thing you do as a developer. You ask the authority
Sure.
for water,
Oh,
sewer capacity.
Capacity, yeah.
That's all.
And a right to serve.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking out of terms of asking in a public session like this, am I?
Well, you heard it, so you're asking.
Yeah.
No, that's a.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
once again, it's
I
about.
know when it comes to like planning.
Right,
I mean, once again, I'm the liaison. We're bringing it up.
Yeah,
We're bringing it up at the council
I
meeting.
can't go, I can't.
No, I don't think there's anything. Like I said, you just shoot me an email
Yeah,
on that,
sure.
just to outline it, and then I can. Then when they ask me for, do you have any questions, I can bring it up at the meeting.
Perfect.
I'm a little concerned about MS4 and people not being here, attending this meeting, really calling us. Nobody is saying peep. And then they're going to get the bills in the mail, and then
Peep.
the you know what's going to hit the you know what. Like, why aren't people paying attention to
Another
this?
month or two.
Ignorance is bliss.
Okay, well, when you get another bill,
Anything else related to water and its authority or person? No?
you can write that.
All right, Borough Manager Brad, anything outside?
Nothing outside of the report, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Treasury report, obviously everybody saw that days ago now. Any questions Okay. Borough Solicitor, Dr. Armstrong.
There's nothing specific under my report. I do have probably comments and guidance for some of the other agenda items later on in the meeting. And I do have a brief executive session following the meeting with respect to litigation and legal, but I don't anticipate any decisions being made.
Understood.
Thank you.
Any questions for the solicitor? Bath Planning Commission meeting minutes, October 21st, pending. Anything, Brad, that I need to know?
We'll be meeting in February. We'll have those minutes approved at that time.
We're anxiously awaiting and excited to approve the October
February
minutes
17th.
for months now, so can't wait to read. All right, President's comments, really nothing other than a reminder that it is an election year for mayor, tax collector, and 3 council seats. So just so that's in the public record and everyone's aware, please contact voter registration at the county for more information. Any questions for me? I switched hair prop. Oh, you just don't want to know.
Your hair's always nice.
All right, calm down. All right, new business, ratification to pay monthly bills per January treasurer's report. Nice and easy now with the motions. I can only write so fast.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
That's
Any questions? Or-
much easier.
All right, those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have
That's
it.
a good speed.
Please issue payment accordingly. Item 14 to 22, in progress business. All right, so the purchase of the homemade property, which is also listed under motions and action items, item A. We remembered this discussion last month. Exec session first, or what do you think, Pat?
It's up to council. I mean, at your last meeting, you authorized to move forward and get the appraisal. We got the appraisal. Now the question is whether or not you want to authorize the borough staff to reach out and make an offer. We can talk about it a little bit in exec. It is acquisition of real estate if you'd like, but it's up to council as to how you want to proceed.
I'm willing to get crazy and just discuss it here. It's up to you guys. So the appraisal came in at 1,000. I mean, I would like the borough to acquire it. I'm willing. I don't know, but now are we allowed to, as a borough, offer more than the appraised value?
So the borough code doesn't get as specific as some of the other municipality codes in Pennsylvania. Like a second-class township cannot pay more than the appraised value for the property. I will say in the borough code for Pennsylvania, there is no such restriction.
They can't. They can't.
So for a borough, you technically can based upon the borough code, but it's usually you want to stick to the appraised value.
Okay. So the appraised value, again, so the reason behind this, we are approached by a landowner in the borough who would like to sell a parcel along the creek. We get how many? 0.50 acres. So we said we have to get an appraised value on that. The appraisal came in at $1,000.
See,
Obviously, we're trying to acquire properties when available to have access to the creek. Excuse me, to the creek at multiple points. So what's council's thoughts?
Where is this property? Where on?
north of the bridge.
Where by
Creek
the
Road.
creek?
Creek Road Bridge, north.
But it's on the creek?
Yes.
It has
West
access.
side
Comes
bank.
down to the creek.
It has access to the
It's
creek.
a rectangle, goes straight up.
Okay.
I don't know the map for it.
Old railroad right away.
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Dude, sure.
yeah, it's in the back. That's it.
So, I mean, one of the thoughts is, I mean,
Right there. About 400.
I think we should just make an offer of $1,000 and
Yeah.
see what the guy
Yep.
says.
and
I
then
agree.
If he comes back and it's no, then we can
That's what the appraisal is.
discuss.
Is this a motion?
So I have a motion for that.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mandy, second by Sam. All in favor signify by aye.
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 All opposed? The ayes have it. So then A, under 15 of 22 is taken care of. So let's go back to B, under 14 of 22, wireless communication ordinance review.
Nothing to report on that.
All right, Norback Trail, I know Jim
Nothing
touched
to-
on that, nothing new there. All right, now we're into 15 to 22. Item B, as to the question of authorizing Manager Flynn to execute an agreement with the First Regional Compost Authority condition upon the agreement being coordinated with and to the satisfaction of the Borough Solicitor. I need a motion or a
Motion.
motion? Motion by Manny,
Second?
I wanted them, Michael.
second by Lauren. All in favor signify by aye.
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 All opposed? All right. C, as to the question of adopting the Bath Borough Stormwater Authority's lease agreement. So this is just getting all the foundational nuts and bolts taken care of with the MS4 Authority and the Borough. So this was in your council packet. And now's the time to raise any questions or concerns or thoughts.
I had a question regarding the length of the agreement.
Okay.
And I mentioned it to Brad prior to the meeting, 25 years and how that came about. So I guess for the council and for residents as to how it was determined the length. Yes, Ron.
Lease in it, it represents 25 other stormwater authorities. That's been the standard term of for a lease agreement in this situation. I'm used to it with other type of authorities. Brad did take a quick look at the lease agreement between the borough and the Bath Water and Sewer Authority. It's a 75-year lease that will be up in 2028. That's the way it was ordained, but Lee recommended the 25-year lease. I don't see any reason why not to go with it.
Right into that question, you never know how government keeps changing the rules on everything. And let's say magically they get rid of MS4 requirements and all this other stuff, and we see no need for the authority. Do we pause it? Do we get rid of it? What is legal or engineering's thoughts on this?
So I didn't represent the borough for purposes of this contract, the lease or the management contract. There is the Authorities Act, and you have certain rights with respect to the authority that you created. But when you agree to a certain agreement that has different provisions, you're bound by that agreement to a certain extent.
Okay.
The one thing I was just going to state is, there is, believe it or not, there are instances where the municipality and the authority at some point maybe don't see eye to eye, depending upon the current board. So that's something always to keep in mind when you're creating these authorities and the agreements that they're governed by. But again, I wasn't involved in the process. I wasn't involved in drafting these, so I'm hesitant to give too much comment on it. But I guess to your point, at some point, if the authority is deemed not to be necessary, there is a process to dismantle an authority created by the borough under the
Okay.
Authorities Act.
Okay, that is good, because that was my concern over that length of the agreement.
It's not easy. It's not.
Understood.
You're
I
done.
mean,
Yeah.
I mean, taking apart an agreement, breaking an agreement, whatever you want to call it, it's not easy. But if there is a avenue to do that, if something were to change 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, the agreement's my understanding that they have exit clauses. And
Okay.
the same way Borough Council gets to appoint all the members of the Bath Water and Sewer Authority, you get to appoint every member as the terms become due for the Bath Stormwater Authority. So I say this to a lot of municipalities that have authorities. Don't complain about the authority board members if you're the ones always reappointing the same board member.
Tell them about the engineers too.
Well, you can, I'm at will. You can get rid of me at a motion.
All right. So I guess then a follow-up question, all this is Pat comfortable with us as the legal representation for council letting us move forward, or would you like to review?
I would, if you're looking to me, I would like to review it a little. I did not, because my understanding was that Lee represented the council in putting these together. And now, granted, he is also now the solicitor for the authority.
Correct.
If you'd like me to review it as your current solicitor, I would appreciate. I've looked at them, but I've held off on really saying anything because I wasn't here when they were prepared.
Well, yeah, and that's part of my question because you're the newbie, and there's a comfort level there. I mean,
To the extent you give me an opportunity to review it, what I'll probably try and keep my comments are really comments just to make sure you're all aware of what these agreements embody. Because specifically, we've talked about the lease agreement thus far, but the management agreement, that's a living document between you, the authority, and really your employees as to what they're going to be doing for the authority. So I don't know how involved all of you were in reviewing and in preparing these documents, but you should be aware as to what they're going to, when they're implemented, what it means.
What it entails.
Yeah.
My only suggestion is that the MS4 committee was a committee of council, and they worked with Lease Tenet's office for over a year. The committee went through all the documents. The committee recommended to Borough Council to create the Stormwater Authority based on the committee's recommendations. You did all that in 2024. They had their organization meeting. They executed their half of the documents. It's your turn to do this. If you'd like your legal counsel to review them, that's fine. But Lease Tenet was acting on behalf of Borough Council all throughout 2024. I just want to remind you of that process. This isn't a new thing.
That's why I've held off.
Remember all those meetings?
Just what I brought up just for open discussion. I am a vote of one.
No.
Whatever you guys want to do.
I just don't think it makes sense to spend the money twice to have the same thing
Agreed.
when he was doing it for us in the first place. But that's just my opinion.
Take an opinion.
The three on the end
Take an
there.
opinion. I agree with Manning.
Okay. Lauren? 2?
Peace out.
Oh, peace out. Oh, okay. Douglas? All right. So, anybody want to make a motion on items?
Frank, I think a question from the floor.
Yes.
What happens if the Supreme Court decides that this is a tax and not a fee?
Again.
Because, I mean, I kind of agree with the fact that it is a tax because you can't opt out of it.
Tax.
There's no other service provider I can choose. It's being billed by the borough, you know what I mean? Or the authority in a sense, but.
Well, that was my question. If the federal government decides, done, that was my question playing into what do we do to dispose of the authority or pause the
that's
authority, so.
What happens in that case?
Right.
Because I mean, technically, all that stuff was already covered in your
Okay.
taxes.
He's got an answer.
So now you're applying a secondary thing. It opens up a can of worms because you could start offshooting all types of services and opening up authorities and then charging mandatory fees for everything and raise taxes indefinitely.
It's a state mandate.
Ron, you wanted to say something?
Yes, there is a case before the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Supreme Court. If they were to rule that stormwater utility fees are not utility fees and are a tax, there will be many municipal authorities, stormwater authorities throughout the Commonwealth. I think there's already 250 stormwater authorities, some of which are over 10 or 12 years old, and they all will dissolve. They'll have to be dissolved. That's the Supreme Court's decision. No one, including Lease Tenet's office, believes that's going to happen. But
Well, my question too with that is if they would dissolve it, then what about the permits that we have to meet? Are they still in place or would they be extended or would they be?
DEP will not allow the borough not to be the permit holder. You're asking the authority to, that's part of the management agreement. They're
Right.
going to manage that permit on behalf of the borough. You don't come off the permit.
So basically, we have to deal with it if it happens and when it happens. In the meantime, we've got a mandate from the state that we have to do something, and this is the most feasible way of doing it. End of story.
Motion? No motion? More discussion?
Yeah.
Make a motion, pass it.
Motion for Lauren on C, second by Sam. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. And then D, which kind of is the same thing, that's the management agreement. So that's kind of what I touched on too, as far as any time that the authority's using of borough employees where they have to pay for that time. So,
Motion?
Second.
by Lauren. Second by Sam. I'm going to give it to Sam there. Jim?
Okay.
All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. As to the question of authorizing Manager Flynn to proceed with Telco Inc., quote 25-17, for the replacement of the cabinet assembly due to a motor vehicle crash at Borough and Walnut, estimated cost in the amount of $51,275. Brad, the insurance for the vehicle that hit the light thingy cabinet?
This is a hit and run crash without any
Yep.
vehicle information or driver operator information.
Police report.
And there's no police report.
I just wanted that in the public record, so thank you. Since we have cameras in parks, would it be something we could explore this year as far as cameras facing some of these intersections? Or is that something for public safety and engineering to discuss?
You could send it to public safety. It is an option. It's an expensive option.
I know it's expensive, but I mean, if we do the nuts and bolts, then even what we're paying might, in the long run, be less expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
We could also discuss that with PennDOT to see
Right.
what
Yeah.
other people
Right.
have done.
No, I think that's good, if we can at least do something. All right, so motion on,
I had one
Go ahead,
other
yes.
question about the quote.
Mhm.
It notes in there that it says the quote does not include new controller. Does that, since they put it in there, does that mean anything further to us?
No, this is just the cost to replace that equipment there. Yeah.
But I understand that. I just mean that, do we need a new controller or?
This is based off of
The whole cabinet.
telcos. I don't know. There are signal maintenance provider, so they've gone out already. They did a temporary fix, and they have come back with what else needs to be done in order to make that intersection.
Well, I just mean that this is complete, because I just mean that they noted that it leads to mean, that there might be questionable other things that are revolve around this that they are not responsible for, that we might be responsible for, or something, that they noted that.
They already replaced that on a temporary
They
basis.
did.
They don't need to replace it again.
So the controller was replaced temporary. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where the $9,000
The-
was.
Yes.
versus-
Yeah, the
right.
light is operational.
I think that,
Yes.
Douglas, is that what you were asking about the controller itself?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's nothing
Okay.
further beyond this
Okay.
that we are on the
And you
hook for.
can you answer those questions?
It's what they've quoted to this point. We
Right,
won't know
I
till they get
but I
into
just
it.
mean,
Right.
is there something that we're missing here that?
Yeah, won't know till they get out there.
It's a lot of money.
So whatever it ends up being, they'll end up paying it.
Yeah,
It just sucks because then our rate of our insurance
Yeah,
goes
of
up.
course, yeah.
yeah.
Which might be a good reason for Wawa going in over there. They got lots of cameras.
Yeah, that is true.
If it would go.
Franco.
Nature call.
Frank had to,
Take the stage left.
so he has to take over. So we need a motion to pay this?
Authorized.
Sure.
Yep.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Doug,
To move ahead with having Brad proceed with Telco.
Second?
second by Lauren. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me,
Motion carries.
It's not
Me,
even
me,
an
both.
option.
Okay.
Well,
I want that noted in the record.
yeah.
So then we have just the resolution.
Which is probably still tabled. Or Would you like to take this, Pat? The one with the Public Works? We can talk to Jamie.
That's up to council. That's up to council. If you want me to run with this, I can.
Yeah. To get movement on this item, would you like Pat
Shane's
to?
been backed up with other stuff that he's trying to finish off.
Okay.
Do
So
it.
this is something that should be.
We've
very
had this on
easy and
for
should be
4 or 5 months now.
Yeah.
Add the Public Works to the
Right.
parking code?
Yeah, basically what it came down to, the discussion was that if they're working on a road and it's marked as no parking, and if it's marked as no parking, that they can have the car towed away so that they can keep working and not delay things. It's not for them to actually just go out and do all
Okay.
that.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're making a motion?
I think by consensus is fine. There's no resolution I'm aware
No.
of to pass this evening. So if you'd like me to reach out to Jamie or Brad to reach out to Jamie to reach out to me, and then I can kind of take it over and run with it. That's fine.
I think that's a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Take over, Pat.
Right, you're back.
Good. Hold on.
What are we doing for 15
Yeah, we're-
years?
That's why I wasn't here for that vote, so I don't want to be on the record to spend $51,000.
We're on to the March meeting already, Fred.
Oh, all right. March meeting, that's great. Time's flying.
There's been a reorganization.
All right, so, that's it? What, you guys through everything, we're just now?
We were at resolutions, no
So
ordinances.
there's no resolutions
He's
or
gonna
what?
go on that.
Okay.
So
All righty.
it's along.
All right.
None?
I'm excited. 18 of 22 correspondence forwarded to us via email. 19 of 22, that's it. Leave it. Is that a time extension? Yeah. So you want to go to executive, or we can handle that now?
That you can, it's just a time.
For 522 East Northampton? Yeah, they've granted, I believe they've granted us the time extension.
Yeah.
It would just be acknowledgement or
Okay.
acceptance of it.
Accepted.
That's what I figured, but do I have a motion for?
Yeah, what were the times? Just so that's on the record.
So it's 522 East Northampton Street, South application 2024-002. I believe the time extension is for
I think it's through the end of April.
90 days.
90 days.
And was it the end of April, right? I think that's right. We have a motion.
Motion extended.
Motion by Manny,
Second.
second by Lauren. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. And an exec session, there was a couple of things. Anything we're going to vote on after exec that we know off the top of our head? Solicitor from?
There might be,
Okay.
if you're going to authorize my office or Ron's office to participate in a zoning hearing board application.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to go into exec?
Motion?
Motion by Jim,
14.
Second.
second by Manny. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We're in exec. We'll be back.
Okay.
Motion to go back into session.
Second.
Motion by Manny, second by Sam. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All right.
Yeah, 7:14.
7:47.
7:49 is our mark.
All right. So, a couple of items
Who was
here.
that? Who was it?
7:49.
Manny,
Manny and Sam.
Manny and Sam.
Okay, so an item related to zoning. Pat, would you like to read off?
Sure. As council's aware, there's been an ongoing enforcement action involving property within the borough for failing to proceed with the appropriate applications to secure zoning relief. The borough did just receive an application for a list of variances from the zoning hearing board for the Sacred Heart Parish and Sacred Heart Parish Trust property. That will be before the zoning hearing board, I believe, sometime in March. So the question to the board, the question for the council was whether or not to have my office or Ron's office participate in the zoning hearing board hearing. It's my understanding that there are one or two conditions of any potential zoning relief that the council would like to see attached to any decision from the zoning hearing board. So I don't know if there's necessarily a need to have myself participate in the hearing. but perhaps a motion to authorize communication to the zoning hearing board indicating that whether or not the council is not going to take a position on the application, and if not, whether or not you want it known that you would expect conditions of any potential zoning relief, those conditions being that the applicant proceed with a lot consolidation plan as well as a saldo application associated with the parking lot.
What he said?
Motion?
Motion by Manny,
Second.
second by Doug. We'll give it to Doug. All right, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Guys have it. That was the only item.
Oh, it's my understanding that in the past, a few years ago, the borough used what was known as, I believe, pro-champs for their foreclosed and vacant property registration. Pro-champs have since disappeared or merged, but the entity now is HERA, H-E-R-A, and they've provided a draft agreement for the borough to consider if you wanted to continue with that service. I believe Brad would like that service continued, so if it is, I don't think you have to do a motion, but just the consensus whether or not Brad and I can send them some changes to the agreement at some point. Obviously, if they agree to it, it'll come before you to consider and potentially approve, but before moving it forward, given the fact that there's so many years that have passed between pro-champs and today, we wanted to make sure that council's okay with us taking that approach.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, do I have a motion for adjourn? Motion by Manny.
Second.
Second by Jim. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
52.
7:52.